So this is the last group of phrasal verbs with the preposition up. And we've looked at 5 groups now in total, including this one. Obviously, this is not all of the phrasal verbs with up. It's not all of the meanings of the preposition up, but it's the most common phrasal verbs with up, and it's the most common meaning of the preposition up when used in a phrasal verb. Okay, so the last group that we're going to look at is up when it means the idea of creating something, preparing something, starting something. Okay, so this is another meaning of the preposition up. So the first example is to make up. So to make something up means to invent something, to create an idea in your head. Okay, so often children will do this. So, you could say that she made up a story about fairies, or she made up a story about ghosts and different things. So to make up here means to create, to invent something. Another phrasal verb with up with this kind of meaning is to pick up. So, for example, this is often used with language. So you could say that I'm learning Spanish and I'm starting to pick up some new vocabulary by watching TV series. So to pick up, it means to learn something, but it has this idea of learning something in a natural way, so not in a very structured way. So maybe when you're learning English, when you're walking around, when you're out in the pub or you're meeting friends, that kind of thing, you will pick up some new vocabulary, or you'll pick up some grammar structures. So to pick up in this context means to learn something new, to start learning something in a natural way. Another example from this group would be to set up. Okay, so to set up something means to organize something. So, for example, if I got a new computer, the first thing I'll do will be set everything up. So this means to organize everything so that you can start an activity. Okay, so to organize everything so that you can start an activity. So before I start using my computer, I will set everything up first. Okay. Another example would be if you were having a party and people were coming to your house. Before they arrive, you'd want to set everything up so that it looks nice. Okay, so it means to put everything in the correct place to make sure it all looks good. And the last phrasal verb that we're going to look at in this group is to take up. So to take up is when we want to talk about starting a new activity. So for example, this could be that I have some extra free time at the moment, so I've decided to take up yoga. Okay, so that means I've started this activity. I've started to do something new. It could be, again, if you had some extra free time, you might decide to take up learning a new language. Okay, so to take up something means to start doing a new activity. And that's it for now. So this is as I said, not all of the phrasal verbs with up. That would be impossible, because we create new phrasal verbs every day. So every day there's going to be new phrasal verbs. But if you understand the general meaning of the preposition in the phrasal verb, you have a much better chance of understanding new phrasal verbs when they arrive, or when you encounter a new phrasal verb that you haven't seen before. Okay, so really try when you learn a new phrasal verb, try to look at the preposition and maybe put it into these different groups. Okay, if it's something with up, don't focus on the verb itself, because that will not help you to understand the phrasal verb. Okay, so there's 2 ways that we normally recommend learning phrasal verbs. The one I recommend is this approach, so looking at the preposition and trying to organize phrasal verbs in that way. The other way to look at phrasal verbs would be to organize them by context, so to learn phrasal verbs around education, to learn phrasal verbs around work, to learn phrasal verbs around sports. That kind of way helps you to remember them a bit better. But don't focus on the verb itself, because the verb itself doesn't tell you what the phrasal verb means. It's the preposition that's important.